You've been taught about how to assign variables to number in the last class, and I can remember that you were even given guidelines in naming variables, where you were taught that where you were taught that when you are assigning a name, like when you are giving a variable a name, you shouldn't start with a symbol or a number. Not only that, you shouldn't put a space between the name you are giving your variable and many other things you were told. I don't want to reteach the class again. So this first code we have here is we are assigning this value 12 to this variable which is age. So I just want to look at that one. We are not saying much about that because we've been taught in the last class. So let's go straight into the first type of operators that we have, and that is relational operators. Relational operators. So you have it being named number one, and look at this double equal sign that we have here. The first one equal, and one equal sign, another equal sign. So but anytime we have this double equal sign like this, we call it equal to. And what do we use this equal to do in Python? It is used to check if the values on both sides are equal. If the values on both sides are equal, is used to compare, like this value and this value, are we having the same thing inside it? If it is true, it will return true to us. If it is false, it will return false to us. We've been taught about data types in the last class, where we have integers, where we have strings, where we have boolean. So true and false is under what? Under boolean. We've been taught already. And let's try not to forget that the T in the true will always be what? Capital letter. And the F in the false will always be capital letter. Don't forget that. So let's look at the first code that we have here. We have number one equals to 5, number 2 equals 10, which means we've assigned this value 5 to this variable, and we've assigned this value, which is 10, to this variable. That one is well understood already. You are familiar with variables and values already. So, and we have here another variable here, result equal to number 1 equal to number 2. We are trying to compare, telling Python that is the value that we are having in the first variable, which is number 1, is it equal to the value we are having in the second variable, which is number 2? Then print result for us. If it is true, print for us that it is true. If it is false, print to us that it is false. And I know you want to agree with me that 5 is not the same thing as 10. 5 is not equal to 10. I know you will believe that. Yeah. So if you are typing this with me now, if you run this result, what it will give is what is false. Result equals to number 1 equal to number 2. Print results. Let's assume we're having 5 here and we print it. What is going to give us is what is true. Just give me a minute to just have 5 and run it.
Try and the pull up first.
Any complaint? Please mute your mic. Mute your mic. So let's go to the second one. We are trying to work with our time. So the second one is telling us that this number 2, you can see the symbol. It means not equal to. The first one is what? Equal to. The second one is not equal to. So it's used to check if the values on both sides are not equal if the values on both sides are not equal. So we are still going to make use of our former variable, which is what number 1 equals to 5 and number 2 equals to 10. Look at this first one that we ran the other time and it gave us false. Now that I've changed it to 5 and 5, I ran it again and it's giving us true, simply because the values in the two variables are what are equal. Look at this one now. The first, we have 5 assigned to the first variable. We have 10 assigned to the second variable. Now, result equals to number 1 not equals to number 2. That is, if number 1, the first variable, is not equals to the second variable, tell us that true. If they are equal, tell us what? False. That should be the result, the correct result. And now, when we run it, it gave us what? True. Simply because the value are not equal to each other. They are not equal to each other. Let me try to change this 10 to 5. This 10 we have here, I will change it to 5 now. And I will run it again. Let's not, now, without running it, you should know that it's going to give us false, because the value are what? Now equal. Now, we see the result. Result is what? False. Because the value are equal to each other. So let's go to the next one. All these are basic calculation in mathematics that we know. Greater than, less than, greater or equals to, less or equals to. So here we have greater than, greater than. So greater than is used to check if the value on the left side is greater than the value on the right side. It's used to check if the value on the left side is greater than the value on the right side. So let's go to our code. We are using the same variables again. Number 1, number 2. So the result equals to number 1 is greater than number 2. And we know that is not possible. Number 1 is not greater than number 2. Are we together? Number 1 is not greater than number 2. We should know. So if when we run this code now, when I ran it, it gave me what? False. That is, 5 is not greater than 10. But if I should change this 10 to something like 4, and let me run it again. I will run it again now. Tell me what? True. That is, it is correct that 5 is greater than 4. That variable 1 named number 1 is greater than variable 2 named number 2. It's as simple as this. Just basic calculation, basic mathematics that we all know. So, and we have number 4, we have less than, less than. What do we use this less than to do? It's used to check if the value on the left side is less than the value on the right side. It's used to check if the value on the left side is less than the value on the right side. So we are still repeating the same variables. Number 1, number 2, 5 and 10. So result equals to number 1 is less than number 2. And you will believe with me, you will agree with me that truly 5 is less than 10. So when I ran this code, it gave me true, that, oh, you are correct. Print results, and which is what? True. 5 is less than 10. If you type it on your own Google Colab too, you are going to have the same results with me here. But let me just try to change this from 10. Let me change it to something like 3, which means 5 is less than 3. Let's so print result for us. Let me run this code and see the results we are going to have. We have false. That is, no, it's not possible. 5 is not less than 3. So let's go to the next one. The next one we have here is greater than or equal to. You can see the logo, the combination of greater than and equal to. So what do we use this operator to do? We use this operator to check if the value on the left side is greater than or equal to the value on the right side. Now, I think it's becoming a bit complex. Before we are having just only single operator, less than, greater than, equal to, but now we have combination of two operators now. So greater than or equal to. So we use this to check if the value on the left side is greater than or equal to the value on the right side. So we are still making use of the same variables, number one, number two, and we can see the values assigned to them, 5 and 10. So now result equals to number one greater than or equals to number two. And I know that with our little background in mathematics, okay, just a minute, I need to increase my screen. Okay, I think we can see the screen better now. You can see the screen better now, right? Yeah, thank you. All right, so let's continue. So we are talking about greater than or equal to. Please mute your mic, please. Thank you. So we have number one. So we are still making use of the same variables, number one, number two. So now the code we all right. So I want to believe we are together now, right? Okay, can you hear me now, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. So yes, I was talking about greater than and equal to, and I said here we have two conditions. So if any of the two conditions are met, it's going to return true for us. But if none of the two conditions or criteria are met, it will return false. And now here I change the value assigned to this number two, I change it to 5, which means one of the conditions will be met, which is what? 5 equal to 5. So after I ran it, it gave me true. Let's go to number 6. I want to try to be as fast as I can, but trust me, you're going to understand it. So number 6 is less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. So we use this operator to check if the value on the left side is less than or equal to the value on the right side. Here we are using the same variables again, 5 and 10 assigned to these two variables, number 1 and number 2. So return equals to number 1 less than or equal to number 2. And you will agree with me that 5 is less than 10. Though 5 is not equals to 10, but 5 is less than 10. So if you type this code now and you run it, the result is going to give you is what is true, because 5 is less than 10. These are simple things. I believe you are getting it as I'm explaining. Now let's go to, now we are through with, we started with relational operators. We try to compare values. We try to compare values. Now we are through with relational operators. We need to go to the next one, which is logical operators. Logical operators. And this one has to do with and okay, let me just give it to you in this way. Let's start with the first one. The first one is and operator. It returns true if both operands are true. Otherwise, it returns false. So here we are using 3 variables. You can see it. You have number 1, number 2, number 3 as the 3 variables we'll be making use of. And we have these 3 values assigned to them, 5, 10, 15. And as an operator, we only return true to you, true as a result, only if the 2 operands are true. If any of your operands are false, it will return false to you. That is, true, true, we give you true. False, false, we give you false. False, true, we give you false. True, false, we still give you false. The only time you will have true is when you have true, true. Then you have what? True as your result. I want to believe you understand what I just said now. The only time you are going to have true when you are using and as an operator is only when the 2 operands are true. If any of the operands is false, it's going to return false as the result to you. Now let's go into practical part of it. So you have these 3 variables already. You can type it on your Google Colab as I'm doing it, so that if you have any error or any problem, you'll be able to ask when there's time for questions and answers. So now, okay, so it's okay. Is there any, okay, let me just attend to this. I want to believe we can see my screen and you can hear me. Okay, so let's just continue. So result equals to number 1 is less than number 2, and number 2 is less than number 3. And we can see the values assigned to all these variables, which means 5 is less than 10. And you will agree with me that that is true. 5 is less than 10. And 10 is less than 15. And you will still agree with me that 10 is less than 15. In as much these 2 operands are true, are correct, are right, if you just print your results now, what Python will tell you is what? True, because the 2 operands are what? Are true. It's as simple as that. And let's go to the second one. I will not talk about if and else for now, because I'm still going to teach you about it today. So in order to avoid repetition and to manage our time, I'll just leave this because I'm still going to talk about this again. So let's go to or operator, or operator. It returns true. It returns true if at least one of the operands is true. Otherwise, it returns false. Don't forget, when we're talking about and only return true when the two operands are true. But or return true if at least one of the operands is true. You just have one to be true, it will give you true, straightforward. Now, let's go to the practical aspect of it. We are still using the same three variables that we have here. So result equals to 5 greater than, okay, let me use the variable name. Number 1 greater than number 2. That is 5 greater than 10. And we know that that is not possible. 5 is not greater than 10. Or number 2 is less than number 3. That is 10 is less than 15. And we know that that one is true, right? It's true. If you should type this and you print the result, it's going to give you true. Mainly because one of these two operands is true. So it's going to return what? True for you. But assuming you are using and in place of or here, it will return false for you. So we're having if else. I will still leave this because I'm still going to talk about it in. I told you we're having two major topics today. So I'm going to talk about this in the second topic. So let me just leave this for now to avoid repetition. Now, number 3, not operator, not operator. It returns the opposite Boolean value of the operand. If the operand is true, it returns false. If the operand is false, it returns true. So not is just like opposite of what actually happened that return to you. If the operand is true, the Python that you run will return what? False to you. If the operand is false, it will what? It will return true to you. So let's go into the practical aspect of it. So we are still making use of the 3 variables. So result equals to not number 1 is greater than number 2. That is 5 is greater than 10. Or number 2 is less than number 3. That is 10 is less than 15. And you will agree with me that 10 is less than 15. And in as much you are using or in between, it means if any of these operands are true, return true for us. So this code is meant to return true to us. But because we make use of not here, N-O-T, not, if we should print the result, it's going to return what? False to you. Don't forget the definition when I was talking to you here, that it returns the opposite Boolean value of the operand. If the operand is true, it's going to return false to you. And if the operand is false, it's going to return true to you. So let's move forward. Let's move forward. I will leave the if and else for now. Like I've said, the same thing. Now let's go straight into the third operators, and that is arithmetic operators. And when we're talking about arithmetic, then we're talking about basic calculations like plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus, floor, and exponential. So let's go into the work in proper. Now, okay, this is just a print statement because we've assigned this to operate operator 7 now. We have 6 exponential 3. So it's just a print statement. If you should run this now, see the result is going to give you. Okay, I think I need to run this first. I need to run this first. Then I will now run this again. Yes, 216. Yeah. So but I will still talk about exponential. So let me just start from addition. Start from the least, the most simple one, so that I will not start confusing you up and down. So let's start from addition. We all know what addition is. Adding numbers together. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Just like that. Very simple. Python is very simple. It's very simple. All right. So we have 40 assigned to age. Age is the variable name. Age is the variable name. And we have 40 assigned to it. Now, here, the first age, the new age now, which is age again, equals to age. The first age that we wrote here as 40 plus 30. If I should run this code now, it's going to give me 70, which is what? 40 plus 30. Now, let me run it. You can run it from your side too. We have 70. That's just addition. Adding numbers together. Adding numbers together. So let's go to subtraction. That has to do with, we can still call it minus. Looking for difference between numbers. Subtracting numbers. So now, first number equals to 40. Second number equal to 30. So result equal to first number minus second number. What is our first number? 40. What is our second number? 30, which means 40 minus 30. If I should run this code, you all know what it's going to give us already, right? 10. So let me run it. Let me run it. Let me run it. We have 10. 40 minus 30, it give us what? Give us 10. Let's go to the next one. Now, division. We all know what division is. You can say 4 divided by 2 to give you 2. 10 divided by 2 will give you 5. 40 divided by 10 will give you 4. Very simple arithmetic. So now, first number, again, we are repeating the same variables. First number equals to 40. Second number equals to 30. Now, result equal to first number divided by second number. When you are running your own code, don't type divide in using text. No. Use this symbol in doing it. Place and place. Don't go and write divide. First number divided by. No. It will give you error. Okay. So if you should run this code now, it's going to give you 1.3333. That 3 is just continuous 3. So that is all this infinity number. But you can decide, okay, you won't just round. We are still going to talk about rounding number up. Maybe just 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, 4 decimal places. But for now, this is just normal result it will give you. 1.33333, just like that. Now let's talk about floor division. So this floor division now, we are still making use of the same variables. First number and second number. Now, result equal to first number floor division, second number. If you should run this, it will give you 1. Mind you, look at this first one. It gave us what? 1.33. Floor division gave us what? 1. I'm very sure you will be like, oh, what happened there? What happened to the rest 1.3333? Who stole it or who took it? Yeah, what we told Python here is that just return the whole number to us. That's what we want. All these points, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, please, we don't need to keep it. Just return to us only the whole number. So thank you. Let's go to the next one. Rand function for division. I think I've said something like that before. That when you want to round your number, you don't want 1.3333333, and you're like, oh, this number is just too long for me. I want my result in 2 decimal places. I want my result in 3 decimal places. I want my result in just 1 decimal places. We all did this in junior school, basic mathematics then. So now, first number equals to 40, second number equals to 30, result equal to round first number divide by second number, comma 2. That 2 means give me my result in 2 decimal places. Please excuse me with all these long numbers after decimal point. Just give me 2 numbers after a decimal point. Let me run it, or let's run it together, because I believe you are doing the same thing on your Google Colab. So let's check the results. There is 1.33, just 2 numbers. If you change this number here that we have 2, it's not a must that you must use 2. No, it depends on what the result you want. It depends on what the result you want. If you change this number to 3, it will give us in 3 decimal places. Let's try that in a minute. Let's try that. 3. I've changed my own here to 3. You can change your own over there to 3 too. And let's run it together. We have our result as 1.333. So let's go to the next one, which is what? Exponential. The base number equals to what? 20. That is, we've assigned this value 20 to this variable named base number. Now, result equal to base number exponential 2. That is, what is the base number? 20 raised to power 2, which means what? 20 times 20. And if you should do 20 times 20 on your calculator, you're going to have what? 400. Now let's run it. Let's check. Maybe Python knows what it is doing or not. Let's check it. 400. 20 raised to power 2. 20 times 20. And the result is what? 400. Correct. It's as simple as that. So let's go to the next one. This power function for exponential. So the base number equals to 20. Like the same variable we have here. So we have it repeated here again. Result equals to power base number, comma 2. It's going to, what we are telling Python here is that our base number, which is 20, give us results. Give us that base number raised to power 2 and give us the result. Print the result for us. It's going to give us the same 400. We should try it now. The same 400. At least 20 raised to power 2. Now let's go to arithmetic incrementation. I know you will have lots of questions, but no problem. Just jot them down, put them down in your papers. After this part I'm treating now, we create a time for questions and answers, and all your questions will be attended to. So arithmetic incrementation, arithmetic incrementation. And we all know what arithmetic is already. Talking about adding calculation with numbers, adding, subtracting, dividing, different calculation you can do with numbers. And what do we mean by incrementation? It means to increase something, to add to something. That's incrementation. Now, let's start with addition, which is plus. And I'm very sure you are familiar with plus already, because we've done something like that before. Now, salary equals to 2,500. This is a variable now. You have 2,500 assigned to a variable named salary. Now, the new salary again, equals to salary plus 10. If I'm to run this code now, it's going to give me 2,510. which means 2,500 plus 10. Plus 10. Now let's go to the next one. Salary equal to 2,500. Look at the second line of code. Let me tell you how to interpret it. Remind you, just be calm. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay. So you can see it bigger now. Yeah. So let me just explain this. Okay, I think I've jumped this place. Thank God. Yeah, now, yeah. So salary equals to 2,500. So let me explain this second line of code to us. This is how you explain it. Salary equal to salary plus 10. I will repeat it again. Salary equal to salary plus 10. And let me just run this. It will give me 2,510. Salary equal to, you will omit this plus first. Salary equal to, you will now come back to salary. All right, please, are we together? Are we still together?
Yes, we
Please, if you
are.
are with me,
Yes, sir.
okay, yeah. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right, you can omit your mic back. Thank you. All right, thank you. So now let's go back to subtraction now. So salary, you will omit this minus when you are interpreting it. Salary equal to, you now go back to salary again. Salary minus 10. Salary equal to salary minus 10. Now let me run this code. Let me run it. Let's check the result. 2,490. 2,490. Now let's go to division. Salary equals to 2,500. The same pattern, the same way we are going to interpret this. Salary equal to salary minus 10. And if you should do it with your phone or your calculation or your pen and your paper, 2,500 divided by 10 is going to give you 250. So let's print salary and see the result, the outcome. 250. You can see it. 250. Let's go to multiplication. Multiplication. The same pattern. Yeah, we are repeating it. Salary equals to 2,500. Now, salary equal to salary times 10. Salary equal to salary times 10. Let's run it. Let's run the code and see the result. You can see it. 25,000. 25,000. So that would be the end for the first class today. I'm trying to run very fast so that we can have time for questions and answer. So, just a minute. Mr. Shedrak.
I'm with you.
Okay, yes, sir. I think, can we have a time for question and answer now? Or
Yes.
Okay, all right, sir. Okay, so help me to coordinate it, sir.
Okay, so if you have questions pertaining what you guys have learned so far, raise up your hands as usual, and you'll be called, and then the question will be taken. So we have just 15 minutes for that. Let's go ahead. So first on my list, I have Miss Gladness. Miss Gladness, what's your question? Okay. Let us have the question. Ismail Abiodun, what's your question?
Yes, sir. My question is that we are making use of integer number, but the result we are having is a float. Why is it like that? I don't get that part.
All right, Mr. Moses, do you want to respond or should I go ahead?
Oh, you can respond, sir.
All right. Thank you, Ismail. Now, I was expecting that question from some persons. Now, when you are working with relational operators and logical operators, when you are working with those two operators, your result comes in Boolean format. Now, remember our data type. Boolean is either true or what? False. Now, relational, logical, simply answer the questions yes or no. That's why your results are coming out in true or false rather than coming out in integers. What you're simply comparing, you're asking the computer. For the first one, let me take a relational, for example. You're asking the computer, please, now if I ask you, let me ask you, 5 and 10, is 5 greater than 10? What would be your answer?
False.
No, forget about the false
Okay.
and true. What would be your answer?
Okay. 5 is not greater than 10.
It's good. You simply tell me no, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, same way the computer will tell you no, but for him to tell you no, he uses true or false. That's why when I was teaching data type, I told you guys, Boolean simply means yes or no, true or false, 1 or 0. You get me? So that's why your answers are coming as false. False meaning no, it is not equal to, while true meaning yes, it is equal to. Same also for the logical operations. Now, logical operations, it tests your reasoning. It tests reasoning also. So when he's testing your reasoning, he asks, oh, is 5 equal to 5? Is 5 equal to 5? Yes or no? That's what I'm simply telling the computer to tell you. The computer will, when after analyzing this, your operator, after checking the values and analyzing your operators, then it says, okay, it is either yes or it's either no, and it gives you the answer. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Are we together? Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's what
Yes, sir.
relational and logical operators do. So why for the arithmetic operators, it gives you the values after doing the summation. So the next person is Emmanuel Temiolua. Your question, please. Your voice is faint. We can't hear you.
How about now?
Yeah, better. We can hear you now.
Yeah, I want to ask a question concerning this.
Concerning what? Sorry.
Concerning that side, you said. I said I want to ask a question concerning that arithmetic addition part.
Okay.
So instead of just writing that, like for example, that salary that we said salary plus equal to 10 now, like that. Instead of writing like that, can we just use another variable?
Another variable.
Like for example, now we say salary is equals to 2,500. Then another
Okay.
variable now saying like increment equal to salary plus 10, like that. Then print out the increment. Is it okay we do it like that? Or is there any downside to it?
You can do it like that. Mr. Moses, please scroll down to the part where you did that your incrementation. Yes, you can do it like that. But what you'll be calling is, you won't be calling your
Salary.
variable. Yeah, you'll be calling the salary. Okay. Because what that operation is simply telling you is that pick. Now, somebody was asking on the group chat, what is the difference? This is the difference. Okay. Now, the first one you did salary is equals to 2,500. Then you cut salary again as a variable, and you assigned, like you were saying now, and you assigned salary plus 10. Are we together? You assigned salary plus 10. That was the first one. Now, the second one that made it different is that you don't need to declare salary as a variable again. It is already a variable. They perform the same function, but one is shorter. You declare salary as containing 2,500. You don't need to declare it again using the first line of code in the first cell, you can just do an increment by calling a summation, simply telling the program that pick the salary, pick the value of salary, add 10 to it, and then assign the answer back to salary. That's what you are doing. Okay, you are shortening the first format. Okay, now all these things you do, you can also equate it to another variable, but you won't be calling salary, rather you'll be calling a new variable.
Okay.
Yes, you can practice that. You can practice that on your own. Most times when you practice, your questions will be answered. Maybe when you, after practicing, you didn't get the answer, you can relate it to the class and they will give you how to do it proper.
Thank you.
All right. So Victor, what's your question, please?
Good
Mr.
evening,
Victor.
sir.
Good
I
evening. We can hear you.
Okay, my own is not really a question, but an appeal. It's
Okay.
too fast. When he now say, please, if you can run in your side, before you even type, he has moved to another stage. So I don't know. I do follow, but when he now say, okay, do it in your end, before I even do this, he have moved to
Okay,
another side.
okay,
Let
okay.
him-
No problem, no problem. You will take it slower this time, but please, I advise you, once you see his screen pop up, don't wait for him to tell you to do it. Do it on your own. Don't wait. Because when you're waiting, he's already trying to move on. So when you see the screen is explaining, just do it on your end, and then whatever he's saying, do it alongside with him. Okay. Thank you very much. So I guess that rounds up. Any other question, please, before we continue with the class? If there is no question, okay, Mr. Kingsley, your hands are up. What's your question?
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Mine is on that base after the exponential. I didn't really
Okay.
understand that area because it was a bit faster. So just if you can just recap the exponential area.
All right. So,
Okay,
Mr.
yeah.
Moses, just recap the exponential for just 2 minutes and then continue with your class. Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Everybody mute your
Thank
mics
you,
back.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shedrack. All right. So let me just go back to the exponential part. So I'm trying to work with time. As I'm trying to just not to waste time at all. So, and mind you, still have access to this video at the end of the class, and that will help you in going over it again. Let's just go down to exponential now. Like I've said, exponential has to do with raised to power. It's just mathematical meaning that we are all familiar with. Can be asked 2 raised to power 2. It means 2 times 2, that's 4. 3 raised to power 3, it means 3 times 3 times 3. So just like that, so 5 raised to power 2, 5 times 5. The same thing we have here. The base number is 20. So we have 20 assigned to the variable named base number. So the result equals to base number exponential 2, which means 20 raised to power 2. So print results. If you are to print the results now, Python will do the calculation for you. And the calculation is 20 times 20. And 20 times 20, if you do it on your calculator, you are going to get 400. So when we run the code, let me run it again. It gave us 400. Now, the second part of it is, power function of exponential. Base number is 20. We still repeated the same variable. Base number equals to 20. Now, result equals to power base number, comma 2, which means this base number, do raise to power 2 of it for us. That's just the meaning. If you want to be raised to power 3, you will change the number from 2 to 3. If you want to be raised to power 4, you change the number from 2 to 4, based on the result you are trying to get and what you are working on. But for this class, we are making use of 2. So it means base number raised to power 2, which is 20 raised to power 2. And when we run the code, let me run it again. I'll run it again now. It gave us, now we have 400. The same thing. The same thing, very simple. So I'm very sorry I was rushing over that place. So let's go over to the second part of the class we have today. So I think we've spent close to an hour already. So now the second part of the class we have today is, let me try to connect this, is if, elif, and nested if statements. So let me just give you an overview of what the class is all about before we go down to the practical aspect of it. Okay, overview of the statements. The use of if, elif, and nested if statement in Python is crucial for data analysis, as they allow you to implement decision-making logic in your code. These constructs are powerful tools for filtering and processing data, making them invaluable for any data analyst working with Python. If, elif, and nested if is a conditional logic data cleaning and pre-processing. So I will start explain. I will just pick out one thing from all these things I've said, and that main thing is conditional logic data cleaning and pre-processing. That is, if statement, elif statement, nested if statement, they are conditional statements. We've been taught in English already, like just like the way we relate even our daily activities. Okay, I will go to work tomorrow. If NEPA restore the light for me to iron my clothes, with that you've put condition to you going to work tomorrow, which means if you experience power failure till 8 a.m. tomorrow, you will not go to work. Just very simple. We are putting if condition to it, that if this condition is not satisfied, is not met, this thing will not happen. But if this condition is met, is satisfied, let this happen. Now let's go. I don't want to waste time. Let's go. Using comparison operator, you've been taught this: equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Good. We have this understanding already. This is going to help us in writing if statement, in writing elif statement, and in writing nested if statement. So you have a short note here. Always remember to indent the code inside the if statement. The same thing with elif statement and the nested if. Indentation is very important. Indentation. I will explain to you what indentation is as we move forward. So let's start with if statement. An if statement is a fundamental programming construct used to perform conditional execution. It allows you to execute a block of code only if a specified condition is true. Only if a specified condition is true. If it's not true, then execute this for us. Okay, this is fundamental in data analysis for filtering data or applying different transformation based on certain criteria. Based on certain criteria, you try to transform your data, categorizing them to different categories. So let's key components. If keyword, that when you want to write if statement, what are the key components that you are going to make use of in writing your if statement? We have if keyword, that is if. This identifies the start of the conditional statement. We have condition, an expression that evaluates true or false. That is the condition that you are placing your result on. That if this condition is satisfied, so that's the condition, an expression that evaluates true or false, which can either happen or not happen. So indentation, the block of code that executes if the condition is true, must be indented usually by 4 spaces. You must, you know indentation already. Like you don't write the, like, print this for me. Like, let the result be this. You don't write it in the same line where you started your if. No, you put like 4 space or use your tab to move it. Please mute your mic, please. So, and we have the else clause. The else statement can be added to the statement if, sorry, I'm coming. An else statement can be added to the if statement to execute an alternative block of code if the condition is false. That is, if the condition that you've set is not satisfied, is not working out, is not true, then run this. Let this one be like plan B. Let this one happen. So let's go to the code. You have better understanding now. Let's start with the if statement. I will try not to, I will not be as fast as I was doing before. Okay. So if statement now, data value equals to 45. Just the same thing, just a variable. The variable name is data value. And we have 45 as a value assigned to the variable, which is named data value. So now these are if statements. This is the code. We said if data value, that is, these are variable. What we have inside this variable, if data value is greater than 20, if data value is greater than 20, when you are you can type this, I'll give you time, but not much time. So if data value is greater than 20, don't forget, after typing that, put your double column there. Pom pom. It's very important. It's very important. If you don't put it there, it will return error for you. Put the double column there. Then you come to the second line of code. Then you put your indentation. You can use tab or like 4 spaces. You see it. Print. You can see that the P in the print is not starting from where the I of the if started. You can see it. So print, then you print value is greater than 20. You can see that we have this value is greater than 20. We have it quoted with double quotation, which means it is a what? A string. So print for us that value is greater than 20. Else, that is, if this condition is not satisfied, is not true, is not met. Else means otherwise. Do this for us. Else, print, because after the else, we have double column. Don't forget the double column. All these things I'm pointing out are very important in writing your code, so that you will not just write like spending hours looking for errors up and down. So else, print, this is your print. Don't forget the indentation. Print value is 20 or less than 20. So if you should run this code now, I know you must have typed it now. If you should run it, we have value is greater than what? 20, because the value is what? 45, and 45 is greater than 20. Now let me change the value from 45. Let me change it to something like 15. Let me change it to 15. I'm very sure you know what the result will be, because the data value is not what? Is not greater than 20. So it will, since the first condition is not met, if we jump to the second one, which is the else statement, which is the else. So let me run it now. We all see it with our eyes. The value is 20 or less. That is, in as much this first condition is not satisfied, Python will just leave it and come to the second one, which is else. Print value is 20 or less. Let's go to this. Let's look at one more example. So I have 3 examples so that it's, so here we have age equals to 18. Age is the variable name. 18 is the value assigned to the variable. Now, if age is greater than or equal to 18, print you are eligible to vote. Else, that is, if that person's age is not equal to 18 and is not greater than 18, print for us that what you are not eligible. Now, and the person's age is what? 18. So let me run it. Yeah, but you are eligible to vote. Now let me change the age from 18. Let me change it to something like 10. 10. And let's run it again. What are we seeing? You are not eligible because the age is not greater than 18 and the age is not equal to 18. So let's go to the third example here. We have source equals to NEPA. Source equal to NEPA. Now remember when we have double equal to, it means what? We are trying to compare if the value in the two operands are what? Are the same, are equal. If they are not equal, that means it's not true. To return false to us. I'm very sure you still remember that. So source equal to NEPA. So now these are if statements. If source equal to NEPA, that is, if source is NEPA, print turn on the switch. But if the source is not NEPA, do what? Print no light for me, no light. Just like you telling someone that, okay, only on this fridge when there's NEPA light. If there's no NEPA light, if you are using generator, don't want fridge and don't want AC. And there are some parents give instruction to their children like that. That when there's NEPA, on fridge, on AC, on this, on that. But when I'm using generator, go and off the AC, go and off the freezer, go and off the fridge. The same thing happens there. Source equals to NEPA. So if source is NEPA, print what for us? Turn on switch. Tell us to turn on the switch. Tell us to on our freezer, our AC, our fridge, and every other thing. But if the source of the light is not NEPA, print for us no light. And we can say that the source is NEPA already. Source equal to NEPA. If you should run this now, to give us what? Turn on switch. If we should change the source to another thing, it's okay. Let me even just change. Look at this very well. We have capital letter N. Python is case sensitive. If you mistakenly type small letter N instead of capital letter N, it will tell you false. Like no, it's not. The source is not NEPA. So Python is what? Case sensitive. Just know that. But there are times I see people, like my students, having problem with just minor thing. So your variable name, what you assigned to your variable, must be the same thing you will ask for. If you use capital letter and you're not using small letter to call for it, it will not respond. It's giving you error. Another thing. So now let me just change this one to small letter N. Small letter N. You've seen it, right? So let's run it and see what it's going to give us. No light. Because the NEPA we have here is capital letter N. And what I'm having here is small letter N. So give us no light. So now let's go to elif statement. Elif statement. Elif statement actually means else if. Else if. So elif statement allow you to, okay, this allow you to check multiple conditions sequentially. In if statement, we were able to check only one condition. Don't forget, only one condition. But in elif, we are able to check multiple conditions sequentially. So this is useful when you have more than two potential scenarios to evaluate, enabling a clear structure for your logic. For example, now maybe in your workplace, you have people of different ages. at age of 20, age of 30, age of 50, age of 60, age of 70, age of 80. You're not trying to group them. And you're like, okay, for those that are between the age of 20 and 40, let me group them as young people. 40 to 60, let me group them as matured people. 60 to 80, let me group them as adults. No, you have more than one condition now, like 3 conditions. So let's go into a practical aspect of it now. Elif statements. But here we'll be using inputs. You've been taught input in the last class. You've been taught inputs. When you run inputs will ask you to input a number. Yeah, I remember you've been taught. So here now, let me just explain what we have here. This elif statement. I is a variable name. Sorry. I equal to int, which means int input. That is the number you are going to input here. The number you are going to type here should be a what? Should be an integer. Don't put string here. Don't put floats here. Put only integer. That's why you specify that was int, int. So I equals to int input enter number. If you should run this now, it will ask for a number. If the number, okay, you now said, okay, if that is if the number you input is same thing, remember this equal to, you're trying to compare if the two variables are what are equal. Now, if the number you just inputted, you just inserted into your computer is the same thing as 10, print I is 10 for us. Print I is 10. But if it's not 10, elif, it means else if the I is 15, print I is 15. Else if, elif, short form for else if, elif, if the number you inserted is 20, print I is 20. Else, print I is not present. That is, after putting that number, if the number, the Python will check the first condition. We check through. Number you just inserted, is it 10? If it's 10, it's the print for you, I is 10. If it's not 10, Python will leave the first condition, come to the second condition. The number you inputted, is it 15? Python will check through. If it's not 15, Python will leave that place. Come to the third condition. Number you inputted, is it 20? If it's 20, it will print to you that I is 20. If it's not 20, Python will print the last condition, which is else. I is not present. Now, let me run it now. I will run it now. So I will run it like 3 times. So let me just think of a number. Okay, let me put 15. 1 and 5, 15. And I'll click on my enter. Let's check the results. I is 15. So the first condition was not satisfied. Python went to the second condition. Is I 15? Oh, yes, this one is satisfied. And it's printed to us what? I is 15. Let me run it again. I'll run it again now. And I will put maybe like 21 or 22 there. So let me put another number. 21. And click on enter. So Python, when I inserted 21, Python will check the first line. Okay, this number, is it 10? Oh, it's not 10. Oh, go to the next one. Is it 15? It's not 15. Oh, go to the next one. Is it 20? It's not 20. Then what's the last thing we're going to print? I is not present. It's very simple. Just calm down to look at it. Python will check through your conditions right from the first one, the first, the second, the third, then the last one. One after the other, one after the other. So let's go to the second one. This is another example. Age equals to 70. Age is the variable name. You have 70 assigned to age. Now we said if age is less than 18, print you are a student. Elif, age is less than 65, print you are an adult. Else, that is, if these two conditions, if any of these two conditions are not met, else print for us you are a senior citizen. And the age is what? 70. Now, let me run it now. If you run this code, you are a senior citizen. Python checked through the first condition, not satisfied. Python jumped to the second condition, looked through it, not satisfied. So Python will have to print the last statement, which is else. You are a senior citizen. Now let me change the age to something like 60. Okay, 60. And let's check what it's going to give us. Let me run it. You are an adult. Majorly because Python checked the first condition. Age is less than 18. And Python can be, oh, this condition is not satisfied because age is actually 60. And 60 is not less than 18. So Python pushed that one to one side. Check the second condition. Age less than 65. So, and that one, Python will be like, okay, 60 is actually less than 65. All right, print you're an adult. This condition is satisfied, is met. So you are an adult. If you change the number to something like 17 downward, it's going to print for us, you are a student. So let's leave that. Go to the next one. This is another example under it before we go to the nested if. So marks equals to 75. Like a student or a student's mark is 75. So we are trying to categorize it. So if marks is greater than or equals to 90, print grade is A. So I will just call this double column is for now. It's actually not is, but just for like call it in form of statement. Grade is A. Mind you, I feel like repeating this again to us. Don't forget the indentation and don't forget the double column here after your if statement. They are very important. They are very important. Yeah. So if marks is greater than or equal to 90, print grade is A. Elif, that is else. If mark is greater than or equal to 80, print grade is B. Elif, marks greater than or equal to 70, print grade is C. Else, print grade is D or F. That is, if these three conditions are not met, are not satisfied, just print for us that the person's grade is D or F. So now we are the mark we have is 75. Now let me run it now. Let's run it together. I must have typed it because I'm working very slow now. The result is grade is C. Let's go and check if Python has done the right thing. So the mark is 75, not up to 90, not up to 80. So the mark is between 70 and 79. So that is what C. Print grade equal to C. Now let's go to nested if. Nested if. Nested if statements. These are useful when you need to make decisions based on multiple layers of condition. For example, if the organizers of this program decided to allow only those that are between the age of 18 and 60 years and having a laptop to register for this program. Now, nested if is just like us having if inside if. How would I say it? If inside if. That is, we only okay. Let me just give you let me show you the code, so that it won't be like a jargon to you. So we have age equals to 20. You understand the first line of code? That's what assigning value to a variable as license equals to true. Now, all right, can we hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so age equals to 20 as license equals to true. Now, if age is greater than or equal to 18, and you can agree with me that 20 is greater than 18, which means the first if condition is already satisfied. Print for us, you are an adult. Now, consider we're having another if here. Let me explain how you are going to put, because here, indentation is very, very, very important. Today I'm saying that very 3 times. Because if you put your indentation anyhow, you will have error, even though you have typed the right thing. Now, we have 2 if here, and we have 2 else here. The first if up here, first one, I believe you can see my arrow flying up and down. The first if here, IF, is working with this else here. This second if here is working, this second if here that I just highlighted is working with this else statement, this else. Why this if is working with this else? So if this first condition is not satisfied, Python will forget about this if and else. It will jump to this last one to consider this straightforward. If this first one is not satisfied, Python will forget about this if in the at the middle and just print. Okay, let me just change this 20 to something like 2. Yes, 2 is okay. Let me run it. You are not an adult. Mainly because this first condition, if age is greater than or equal to 18, is not satisfied, Python will leave this one in the middle. This one here, it will leave them and just print this one for us straight. But if this first condition is satisfied, that will make Python to come to this second if to check if it is satisfied. So if this first if is satisfied, we should know that Python is going to print for us, you are an adult. Then Python will continue to check for the second if statement. So if the second if statement is satisfied, Python will still print another one for us. You are an adult, you can drive. That is, if the person is equal to 18 or older than 18, and person has license. So Python will print for us, you are an adult and you can drive. But let's assume the person is greater than 18 or equal to 18, but does not have license. Like Python, we consider the first one, you are an adult. But then we check the second if statement and see that, oh, this person does not have license. Python will now come to the else that we have here. You cannot drive. Okay. Let's do practical. We've done the first practical, which is what the age is now up to 18. Now let's assume the person is older than 18. Let me put it to 20, and the person has what license. Let me run it. Let's see what the result we are going to have. You are an adult and you can drive. Because the first if statement was satisfied, Python went to the second if statement. That one to satisfied. So Python will print for us, you are an adult, you can drive. But let's assume the person is older than 18, which means the first if statement is satisfied. They will now have false here, not true. Sorry, just I want to type false here so that we understand. Now we have false. Let me run it now. And let's check the results. You are an adult. You cannot drive. So the first if statement was satisfied, which means you are an adult. Python will come here. Does this person have license? Oh no. Python will leave this. Come to the second to the else state, the else, which is what print you cannot drive. So the person is just older than 18 without driving a driver's license. Such a person is an adult but cannot drive. It's as simple as that. Let me go to the second one. Then we have like 3 examples there. Before we okay, the second example is it I equal to input integer input. How old are you? Here you'll be the one to put your age. Now, if age, look at this one very well. If 18 is less than or equal to I, let's just take for example, when you were trying to register for this Python for data analysis class, the management or the community were like, okay, we only want those that have laptop and those that are above, those that are 18 upward, those are between the age of 18 and 60, and that they have laptops. We only want them to register. If you are older, if you are not up to 18 or you are older than 60, you cannot register. Or if you are in between this age and you don't have a laptop, you cannot register. You can be considered, but you are not eligible. You can just be considered. That's the code we have in here. Let me explain one after the other. So I equals to integer input. That is, if you should run this code, is going to ask you that how old are you? The age that you're going to put there will determine maybe Python is going to go to the second if statement or just jump to the else. If you put something greater than 60, like 61 upward, or something below 18, it will not consider all these again. To just jump down to this place. Let me run it. Let's assume I want to register for this course now. So I was asked, how old are you? And I put something like 17 there. 1 and 7, 17. You click on enter. Only tell me you are not eligible. Because this first if statement is not satisfied. Python will jump down to this place for me. You are not eligible. Let me run it again and put something like 25. That I'm 25 years old. All right, 25. Then my enter. You can see it. The first if statement was satisfied already. I'm in between 18 and 60. That's 25. Peter will now ask me again because the second thing is if F, because F is input. Do you have a laptop? Let's start from the beginning. I is what? Integer. That is only put integer whole number here. Input, how old are you? I've answered it already. 25. And I put if that age is in between 18 and 60. Then ask me this question again, that do you have a laptop? Now, because I inserted 25, it's asking me now, do you have a laptop? So another if statement is that if my reply, which is F, to that question is yes, then print for me that you are eligible. Else, that is, if my reply to it is no, print for me can be considered. Now let me put yes, that oh, I have a laptop. I really want to work. I really want to learn about Python for data analysis. Okay, enter. Let me check the results. Yes, you are eligible because the two conditions are what? If statement are what? Are satisfied, are met. Let's go to the last one. I think this is the last one we have here. We have data value equal to 45. Like we know, data value is a variable name. 45 is the value assigned to it. So We said if data value is greater than 20, print for us value is greater than 20. If data value is greater than 20, print for us value is greater than 20. And you will agree with me that 45 is greater than 20. You will agree with me on that. So now, if I should run this now, okay, before I run it, let me just explain better. If this now the first statement is satisfied, Python will go to the second one, which is if data value is greater than 40, print value is also greater than 40. Now we have 45 here, which means the first if statement is satisfied and the second if statement is satisfied. If you type this on your Google Colab and you run it now, the results you are going to have is value is greater than 20, value is also greater than 40. But let's assume your number is in between, is greater than 20, but not greater than 40. Maybe like 21, between 21 and 39. Let me change it. Let me pick a number between. Let me just pick 40. Okay, between. Okay, I can pick 40. I don't want it to be greater than 40. Yes, I can pick 40. Yes, let's just change it to 40. To 40. 40. And let me run it. Let's check. Yes. Consider the first if statement is satisfied, greater than 20. So the value is greater than 20. But the second if statement is not satisfied because 40 is not greater than 40. So Python will leave this. This one should be value is between, is between, is between. Sorry, is between 20, is between 20 and 40. So let me run this again. Value is between 20 to 40. Is between 20 to 40. So, okay, I think we still have much time for questions and answers because I know you must have prepared a lot of questions you want to ask. So, Mr. Shedrak.
Carry on, carry on.
Okay, yes, I'm through with the notes. I want to
Yes,
give room for
if you have
questions.
questions, please raise your hand, ask, and the instructor will reply your questions as we proceed. And please fill the attendance and check the previous messages. After the class ends, attendance closes. Thank you. Now, the first person is Abiodun Ismail. What's your question?
Okay, sir. Please, I got to understand, or when you are explaining to us in the beginning of the class that Python is sensitive to case and the text, but when we are explaining nested if and the likes, I noticed that the instructor was just doing value, and we had data underscore value, and it's not bringing any error. Why is it like that? And I don't understand. Also, I would like you to please kindly brief us more, or me, or just a kind of briefing on the elif. Thank you.
Okay. The question you just asked now, I think is about nested if based on what you said. You said, I can't grab the question very well because you were
Yes,
saying
I
that.
said, sorry, sir. I said
Okay.
when you are running the code, you are putting the first statement said data value is equals to
Data
this.
value.
Yes.
Okay, I want to look for it so that you can look at it. Okay, this place, right? Can
Yes,
you see the
yes.
screen?
Data value,
Okay.
yes, yes. Data value is equals to 40. But when you want to
Yeah.
print, you are printing value is greater than 20. So, and is responding no error. I've been trying it on my system. I've been getting all kind of error that I cannot interpret.
Okay, okay, no problem. Number one, the first thing is that it's normal to have error when you're working with Python. So I'm even always happy when my students are having challenges. So when you're able to solve it, you'll be happy, and it's building momentum in you. Like, I'm becoming a man already. So let's leave that and let me answer your question now. So data value is the variable name, and yeah, I said if data value is greater than 20, print for me value is greater than 20. I'm not calling the data this print statement. What we have here, let me highlight it. Let me highlight. What we have here, this highlighted place, has nothing to do with data value that we have here, the variable name. This is just a statement, and I have it quoted, which makes it is a string. I don't need to put data value again. It has nothing to do with the variable name. It has nothing to do with the variable name. I can put anything here. I can even say print school for me, or print market, or print banana. It will give me results. It has nothing to do with the variable name. This is just a statement quoted as a string. Chief, have I answered your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
And
all right.
also on the nested if, can you please just a slight briefing?
Okay. Let's wait for others so that I can just do it together. But we still, I promise to do that. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the next person,
So if you have a
Mr.
question, please raise. I can't see anybody that's raised. Is that the only question we have for today's class? If you have any other question, please speak out. When we are done, we won't attend to any other question aside from this. Okay, Mr. Moses, carry on with the class. No other question.
Okay, sir. So I want to quickly try to do the request of this my brother. He was telling me to briefly recap nested if. So nested if, like I've said, it is you having if inside if. Consider we are having more than one if now. We're having two ifs here. If inside if. And I've said, like I've said earlier, when you're working with nested if, indentation is very important. Even with all the if statements, if, elif, nested if, indentation is very important. And I said this if here that I just highlighted is working with this else here. If this first condition is not met, is not satisfied, Python will jump to this place straight. It will forget about what you have in the middle. Python will only uh, reach out to this if statement in the middle. If this first statement is satisfied, just like you writing JAM, and maybe you pick University of Lagos. I know University of Lagos, the cutoff mark is 200. If you don't score up to 200, that's the first condition, right? You must score 200. It is when you score 200 that you can go for post jam. If you don't score 200, just jump to anywhere you want to jump to. Don't even come to our school to register for post jam. The same thing we have here. If this first condition is not satisfied, Python will not look at this if that we have here. Python will just jump to the last, to the else that we have here. Same thing in if statement. For Python to even reason or talk about the if statement we have at the middle, then the first if statement must be satisfied. You must score 200 first before you can go and obtain post-jam form from University of Lagos. If you don't get it, go to another school. It's just as simple as that. So, and here we have age to be 20 as license first. So it is if the person is not 18 or greater than 18. So the person, it will print for us you are not an adult. Someone who is not an adult cannot be permitted to drive. It's not about do you have license. The first thing we want to know, are you up to 18? That's the first thing. Then do you have a license to drive? It's not the first thing is not do you have license. No. Are you matured? The same thing we have here. 20 as license first. So the person is more than 18. So the person is an adult. So Python will now come to the second if statement because the first statement was satisfied. If as license and it's false, which means no. But Python, Mr. Shiro was telling us the other time that no in Boolean is what? Is false. And yes in Boolean is true. So the same thing applicable here. So the person is not having license. So if as license, print you can drive. Else, I think if the person is not having license, then print you cannot drive. If let me just run this code now. See what we have. You are an adult. You know you are an adult. You don't have license, so you cannot drive. You cannot drive. Just like you scoring up to 200 in your jam, you are permitted to go and write post jam, maybe Univer or University of Lagos, and at the end of the day, you are not getting up to maybe the cutoff mark for the post jam is 20, and you are scoring like 15. So even though you are able to score 200, you still cannot get the admission because in your post jam, the condition in the post jam was not what satisfied. The same thing here. The same thing. But if the two if statement is satisfied, then the person can work, the person can drive. You're able to score 200 in your post jam and score up to 200 in your jam and up to 20 upward in your post jam, then you'll be given admission. Simple. Simple. I want to believe we have good understanding of the class. Or do you have any other question again? Mr. Shedrack?